Chelsea are 11-10 to win tonight. A draw is best priced at 2-1, and that's the same for Tottenham to come away with a victory this evening. And then at 8, kicks off at 8:15. Before that, though, kicking off in just a couple of minutes, in fact, down on the south coast, it's Bournemouth against Manchester City, and this one, if Bournemouth get the result that they're looking for to hunt down a Champions League place, could hand Arsenal the title tonight. Bournemouth 7-2 to win this evening. A draw is 13-5. City are the odds-on favourite. They're 7-4 on to come away with a victory. That was a look at the latest odds with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over. GambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talk Sport with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
So as I was saying, it's just about to kick off for the Vitality in what seems to be Pep Guardiola's penultimate game in charge of Manchester City then as they head to Bournemouth. Let's bring you a reminder of the team news for this one with our chief football correspondent. He's already had a busy evening. Here's Alex Crook.
Manager, the team shows two changes from that beat Chelsea in Saturday's FA Cup final. Donnarumma returns in place of Trafford in goal, while Mateo Kovacic makes a rare Premier League start this season with Omar Marmoush making way. Bournemouth just the one enforced change. Tyler Adams, the USA international, comes back into midfield with Ryan Christie suspended. So the Cherries, who need a point to guarantee European qualification, all 3 points to guarantee a place in the top 6. They go with Petrovic in goal, Smith, Hill, Senesi and Truffert the back four, Scott and Adams holding in midfield, Rayan, Krupi and Tavernier behind Evan Nilsson in attack. For City, Donnarumma in goal, Nunes, Kusanov, Gay and O'Reilly the back four, Kovacic, Rodri and Silva in midfield, with Semenyo back on his old stomping ground and Doku either side of Haaland in attack. And in case you've missed it, if Manchester City don't pick up all 3 points tonight, Arsenal will be champions for the first time in 22 years. It's a big one at the Vitality as Bournemouth take on Manchester City.
Alex, thank you very much. So we'll have other updates from there, as we will here at Stamford Bridge with the team news for this one. Delighted to say joining us, it's our reporter Joe Shedden.
It is the latest instalment in a genuine London derby that Spurs are desperate will remain a Premier League encounter next season. This season, of course, for Tottenham is all about survival, which can be secured tonight. 2 points between them and West Ham, who are in the relegation zone. As Spurs win here and they are safe and West Ham are down, a point will realistically be enough too, because of Tottenham's considerably better goal difference, while a Spurs defeat and the fight for survival goes to the final day of the season. Tonight, Tottenham are unchanged after the draw with Leeds United on Monday the 11th of May, so that means that Antonin Kinski continues in goal, Vicario on the bench, so too James Maddison, no Dominic Solanke. Kinski then the Tottenham goalkeeper, Porro, Danso, Van der Ven and Udogie in the back four, Polinia and Bentancur holding, Kolo Muani, Gallagher and Tell behind Richarlison up front. And for Chelsea, who confirmed the appointment of Xabi Alonso on Sunday, he'll take charge in the summer. There are no fewer than 4 changes to the team that played in the FA Cup final defeat to Manchester City over the weekend. Achampong, Andre Santos, Neto and Delap all come in. João Pedro, Colwill and Malo Gusto not in the squad. Reece James is on the bench. Sanchez is the goalkeeper. Achampong, Fofana, Hato and Cucurella. Caicedo and Santos, Palmer, Enzo Fernandez and Neto behind Delap up front. It's a lovely early summer's evening here at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against Tottenham.
Joe, thank you very much. That was the team news then from both games. That was all thanks to Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over. GambleAware.org.
The big preview on Talk Sport with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
So we're going to keep you regularly updated then what happens in that game between Bournemouth and Manchester City, which has got underway. Continue also to react to tonight's bombshell news that Southampton have been expelled from the Championship playoff final. Middlesbrough will take their place in what is set to be Saturday's final. That could change, but that is how it stands right now.
Kickoff on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. 18+gambleaware.org.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Get that Toyota electric feeling with the all-new, all-electric Toyota Urban Cruiser. Available with 0% APR representative and £1,500 deposit contribution. And save £1,500 with the Toyota Electrified Saving. Visit your nearest Toyota centre. Price from $29995. Available on Toyota PCP when financed through Toyota Financial Services by 30th of June 2026. Optional final payment. Indemnities may be required. See website conditions apply.
Created for sports fans, a bold innovation. A duet by a bookie and a radio station. It's TalkSport Bet. The clues in the name. Sports betting for punters with their head in the game. Sign up is easy on all your devices. Exclusive promotions and bet boosted prices. Even though no punters are sharing this tip. Get the king of the app pack. TalkSport Bet, it's a hit.
18+gambleaware.org.
The quintessential Mackey's burger. The go-to you'll always go to. The new cheese and bacon McCrispy. 100% chicken breast, melty cheese, sizzling bacon. Betray your go-to for the new cheese and bacon McCrispy. Now at McDonald's. Served from 11 a.m. Subject to availability.
Hey, have you got a moment? Shepherd's Friendly offers a range of insurance and investment plans to prepare its members for every moment that matters. Like that new set of wheels moment. That getting the keys to your first home moment. Or even that trip of a lifetime moment. And it only takes a moment to open a new plan. So, have you got a moment? Visit shepherdsfriendly.co.uk. When you invest, your capital is at risk.
Football, it's in your DNA. And at SpreadX Sports, new customers can earn up to £80 in free bets after placing a £10 World Cup outright bet. Get an initial £10 free fixed odds bet and a further free £10 bet for every game your chosen nation wins. Visit spreadx.com/DNA for full T's and C's. SpreadX Sports, it's in our DNA. 18+gambleaware.org. First World Cup outright bet only qualifies. Free bets capped at £80. Free bet stakes not included in any winnings. Free bets must be claimed within 14 days.
Extra 10%. Trade account exclusive. Over 700 brands. That's worth remembering. Because right now at Dulux Decorator Centre, bag an extra 10% on trade account prices across paints, tools and accessories. Everything you need to get the job done. But keep in mind, it only runs until May 24th. So, that's an extra 10%, trade account exclusive, over 700 brands. Got it? Dulux Decorator Centre. T's and C's apply. Offer not open to Dulux Decorator Centre 360 customers. Sundays online only.
Whatever kind of football fan you are, Talk Sport and the Coral Daily Download are here for it to celebrate the fans every day. Whether you're a front row seater or a prawn sandwich eater, a half-and-half scarf wearer or a lifelong faithful torchbearer, a retro shirt for every game or bare-chested, even in the rain. For all the latest news, reaction and odds this season, don't miss the Coral Daily Download. Every morning from 6 on Talk Sport with Coral. We're here for the fans. 18+gambleaware.org.
Effervescing football and frothy fan talk. It's gotta be Kickoff.
Welcome along to Kickoff. We're live here at Stamford Bridge ahead of an 8:15 kickoff as Chelsea take on Tottenham. A game we know has plenty of history. You can't forget the Battle of the Bridge. It was 10 years ago, in fact. Both these sides still fighting it out, as we know, with Chelsea hoping to end the season in a European place. And as for Tottenham, it's perhaps even more of a pivotal night because they know that if they can get the right result this evening, they will ensure Premier League survival and with it send West Ham down. We're keeping across that as that one kicks off later on, but it's already underway at the Vitality Stadium where Bournemouth are taking on Manchester City. City looking to ensure that they take this title race to the last day of the season on Sunday, taking on a Bournemouth team who themselves are chasing Champions League football. Let's see how this one started. Alex Crook is there.
Well, it's still Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0, but I have to say it's got underway at breakneck speed. Both teams have already had sighters at goal. Junior Krupi denied inside the Manchester City penalty area very early on by a perfectly timed tackle from Rodri, and at the other end the ball came for Jeremy Doku on the edge of the penalty area. He fired a low shot goalwards, comfortably enough, saved in the end by Petrovic in the Bournemouth goal. Remember, Bournemouth need a point to guarantee European football for the first time in their history. All three 3 would mean they couldn't finish any lower than 6th, whatever happens on the final day when they travel to Nottingham Forest. City have to win in order to take the title race to that last day on Sunday. 9 minutes gone, Dean, and this is not going to finish 0-0.
No, you talked about that speed and the qualities there to boot. Obviously, these two teams, Bournemouth 16 unbeaten, Manchester City 14 unbeaten as well in the Premier League. Two top sides. And Pep Guardiola talked about it being like a trip to the dentist playing Bournemouth because they don't let you breathe. Well, they didn't. In that first 3 minutes, honestly, the pace that Bournemouth were playing at was exceptional with the quality added to it. City have just calmed things down with that possession.
Yeah, I was obviously preoccupied with all the Southampton Spygate stuff, but I think I'm right in saying that Pep Guardiola, standing on the touchline for what we believe will be his final away game as Manchester City manager, I think he kept a lower profile than normal pre-match. Certainly didn't see him out there on the pitch as his players went through their warm-ups, as you often do. One Manchester City fan amongst the travelling contingent over on the far side, as we looked, did hold up a bed sheet before the game with "Stay Pep" emblazoned on it. Doesn't look like that will happen. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0.
Alex and Dean, thank you very much. It could be a brilliant night for Arsenal. If City then drop points, they will win their first Premier League title in 22 years. And if Chelsea were to beat their North London rivals Spurs, then Spurs' relegation fight would go down to the final day. So the question is, how are the Arsenal fans feeling ahead of this evening? Let's cross to our reporter Max Scott, who is outside the Emirates.
Cheers, Natalie, thank you. I'm outside the George pub, just minutes away from the Emirates, where, let me tell you, the fans here are desperate to get this title decided now. They don't want to wait till Selhurst Park because of the nerves. They want Bournemouth to do a job, and let me tell you, they're clinging on to hope that 16-game unbeaten run is going to be 17 and they can celebrate on the streets of North London. They want these questions answered. They want all of the criticism from pundits, from other fans, about whether this Arsenal side have got the bottle or not. They believe that they do. They believe they've got the mentality, and tonight could just be the night where it's their crowning moment. We're going to be here at the George pub, keeping you updated on the fluctuating emotions of this desperate Arsenal fan base, hungry for the first Premier League title in 22 years.
Max, thank you very much. So you see, we're across it all for you this evening on TalkSport, and we are still keeping across the breaking news that Southampton have been expelled from the Championship playoffs. That's after they admitted that they spied on 3 clubs in the league this season. They have also been given a point deduction to start in the Championship next season. That a 4-point deduction, and an independent disciplinary commission all came to agreement on this, and it was in the last hour or so that it was announced that they had admitted to these multiple breaches of EFL regulations, and they have been given the right of appeal, but that appeal has to be lodged by tomorrow. So we'll wait to see whether or not that will actually impact the Saturday Championship playoff final, because as the EFL said in their statement, it could well mean that fixture has to be changed. And as Alex Crook brought us a little bit earlier on, he said that, of course, we expect Southampton to appeal that decision. We've already heard from a few Saints fans already this evening. Let's hear from a Middlesbrough fan. And they are the team who have been reinstated, if you like, into the playoffs. They will, as it stands, take on Hull in that playoff final. Lee is a Middlesbrough fan and joins us this evening. How are you, Lee?
Hello, Natalie. Yeah, not too bad. You dragged me out in the middle of my gym test there, but nice one for picking up.
Absolute pleasure.
To get out of the gym.
Oh, well, listen, Lee, it might not have been the way you wanted to get into the playoff final, but as things stand, you've got a chance of playing in the Premier League next season now.
Yeah, exactly, and I get it, all them stats. I didn't know it till the stats got brought up, like 3rd place. Well, no, it was actually 4th when we finished. But basically, the teams that give it a late push normally go up, don't they? But, yeah, admittedly, it's not the ideal way to possibly go through. But all I was ringing was to say, just to say at the end of the day, there's right and wrong. And one of the first things I said was, if the boot was on the other foot, and Borough had done that, and we found out, hand on heart, I would have no qualms. I'd say, well, throw the book at us, what comes. So now it's happened to them, they've got to swallow it.
Lee, appreciate your call. And it does seem as though from the Southampton fans that we've heard from this evening that they too have sort of asked that same question and understand the decision that has been made, but do want now questions to be answered by those at Southampton as to why they have found themselves in this predicament. Perry Groves, as we've been saying, this is a story that's going to run and run. I'm sure you've got more reaction to it as you keep thinking about it.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Middlesbrough fans, they won't care. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. They'll take anything to get themselves, obviously, into the playoff final. From Southampton, the Southampton fans, actually, it surprised me that their anger, not obviously the punishment, the anger at their own team and the coaching staff and what they've done. So that's going to have massive ramifications for the club going forward. I think that it's a harsh punishment, but my dad always said to me when I was a kid, if you do something wrong, number one, don't get caught. And number two, if you get caught, don't moan about the punishment, because you hadn't done something wrong in the first place, then you wouldn't be punished. But my point was that they should have put that in the rule book. They should have actually said, if you do this, if you get caught spying or trying to gain an advantage, then you will be expelled from the playoffs or you'll have a 10-point deduction, instead of just done this off the cuff. So Southampton obviously will appeal. Does it go to the same? It goes to a different panel, I should take it, to the one that has actually put that, sanction in place. So this is a massive story, and I think that it's a massive story. Let's be honest, I don't think anybody really thought they was going to be chucked out of the playoff, did they? I think that's why it surprised everybody, and obviously the guys at the games, in the press box, in the media room, it would have been, wow, have you seen what's happened there? That they've been thrown out. I don't think anybody expected it.
It was a case of mouths wide open when we all saw and heard the breaking news, certainly. So, as we've heard then, Middlesbrough, as things stand, will contest that playoff final against Hull. In a way, you've got a feel for all the teams that are involved in terms of the players, especially with Hull, when you think about who were they preparing to face? You were having to prepare to face two teams, potentially, in the sense that they didn't know who was going to play in this playoff final. Let's bring in Rob, who's a Hull fan. Rob, good evening.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, very, very well. I have to say, I have to have some sympathy for you and your team, because who on earth have you been preparing to face?
Honestly, I'm literally shaking. I cannot believe the EPL have done this. I'm sorry, it's an absolute disgrace. Why did they let the playoffs happen? Why did they let the semi-finals happen? Why didn't they make a decision before that? I'm sorry, it's an absolute joke. I've taken time off work Friday, I've got booked off. We're travelling up on the Friday. We don't even know they're talking about moving it to Wednesday on midweek. A midweek playoff final, they're having a laugh. There's going to be nobody there. It's a 3.5 hour journey for Hull fans. It's a 4 hour journey for Middlesbrough fans. What are they playing at? My main point is that we have been preparing for Middlesbrough, right? Middlesbrough have carried on training since they lost Southampton. So they've been preparing for us for a lot longer than we've been preparing for them. Where is the integrity in that?
Look, there's no winners out of this scenario, and I would say that probably for the EFL and making the decision is they needed more evidence, and to gather that and get the time to put it together. Look, they were on a really short time frame, weren't they? From the semi-final to the final, and they've managed to do it on the Tuesday, the week of the final, on Saturday. So it's a really tough one. I feel for everybody involved, the four teams that were there and what's gone on. And it's a really bad look for the Championship as well. A league we always say, one of the fifth best league in Europe, that all these teams invest a lot of money and effort to try and get promoted. But one particular team has definitely crossed the line too far. And if it was one, I think there would have been a different outcome.
It's the multiple breaches.
It's multiple is the issue.
Yeah.
And what about the ones we might not know?
That's what they owned up to, and that might be because they were forced to own up to it. We don't know, obviously. Yeah. The written reasons, I'm sure, will come out in due course, but we don't know the finer details of it. But just in terms, quickly, of Hull and their preparations, Cass, when you're preparing to take on a team, you are thinking about your set plays, you're thinking about the weaknesses of a side that you're taking on. I mean, how difficult is it for them to suddenly have to transition in focusing on another team?
Well, I mean, obviously you can look at all the evidence of watching the videos of the opposition you're playing against. But we were at the game against Millwall, and they played 3 at the back and did it brilliantly well. Now, would they have changed their tactics against Southampton, who would play a different formation than Millwall do? Would they have changed their tactics for Middlesbrough? You know, they know they're playing one of them. I'd like to think they'd have done homework on both the teams.
Yeah, so preparing for both, essentially.
Both of them, and knowing which one... that was the game, wasn't it? The first playoff was Millwall versus Hull.
That's right.
You know, so...
But that's where, Rob, the Hull fan was sort of alluding to it there, that Middlesbrough have been preparing simply to face Hull.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't know if they were playing in the playoff final. So you can ask questions of, well, is that fair that Hull have had to prepare to face 2 teams, whereas Middlesbrough just knew they had to focus on Hull?
Look, there's no good outcome here, was there? There was just never going to be, and there's going to be... This is going to rumble on, and there'll be loads of issues, and I go back to the point I've always made now. I was so afraid that somewhere down the line we're going to have all legal issues around football, and that's where we've got to today. I know Adrian made the point that it's not a can of worms, but there can be a can of worms quite quickly.
Well, they can be, absolutely. You can't just cut it dry. Perry, go on.
Yeah, you know, just saying with Cash, on Hull's preparation, obviously they'll be concentrating on themselves at the moment, you know what I mean, with their team shape. So if they want to play 4-2-3-1 or 3 centre halves, whatever, so, you know, they'll do that in training. And now what they have to do is they just have to wait for their set pieces, do you know what I mean, until the decision's made tomorrow. And then they'll do their set pieces towards the end of the week. But I agree with the fans, especially like the Hull fans that phoned in there, it has to, whatever happens, I think it has to be played on Saturday. Because the fans are in like no man's land as it is, and the money that they've obviously shelled out to go to the game, so they have to think about the fans. They can't think, because this is an independent panel, isn't it? It's not the EFL have put this punishment in.
No, you're right.
Then, but then the EFL then have to think about the fans and all the financial stuff that goes around it. So whoever plays, it has to be on Saturday.
Well, this is it. And let's not forget that, as we've said, Southampton do have a right of appeal, but that has to be, in terms of any appeal, resolved by Wednesday. So that's by tomorrow, which, subject the outcome of that, could impact, hence why we're talking about Saturday's fixture, because who knows, as we said, this could rumble on a little bit longer, which could impact that final. And no doubt Southampton will want to fight their case. They will probably want to say, look, we've owned up to it, we've done everything you wanted us to do. We don't think the punishment fits the crime, essentially. Let's bring in Will, who is a Southampton fan. How are you doing, Will?
Not very good, as you can probably tell.
No,
at the minute.
no, I can well imagine.
Honestly, it's been a massive season for every single fan of the club. We've spent hundreds, if not thousands, on season tickets, on away tickets, on travel to and from those away games, hotels, long nights, long drives. And yeah, honestly, this is the straw that breaks the camel's back, I think. Along with it, I've seen so many other people already saying they're not going to be spending a single penny on this club anymore until these owners go. They've taken a stable Premier League club, they've put them into the Championship, they've made them the laughing stock of England. And honestly, we need to actually grow a bit of a backbone as a fan base now and say that enough is enough.
Where do you think this leaves Tonda Eckhart? Because he's actually held in high esteem by Southampton. In fact, he turned your season around after the debacle of like Will Steele. So where do you think it leaves him now? Because from the outside, I don't think that he wouldn't have known what was going on.
Same, to be quite honest. I was definitely outside of this. It's one of those things that I was hoping, in my heart, I was hoping it was just this one intern. He's looking to progress in his career, and he's wanting to just make his way in the world and looking to impress. But at the same time, I've said it from the off, if Tonda had anything to do with this, he needs to go. Everyone associated with it needs to go. Anyone that's complicit, just leave the club the moment that appeal gets rejected tomorrow.
Will, thank you for your response this evening, and that is what a lot of Southampton fans are now questioning. They're questioning their team, they're questioning their board, and why wouldn't they? Because as Will has said there, they have paid so much money all season to support their team, and they thought they were potentially 90 minutes away from reaching the Premier League once more. Alex Crook is down at Bournemouth alongside Dean Ashton, and that is the biggest issue, I suppose, emanating from Southampton fans, is trust. The trust has now been broken.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say there's a lot of Southampton fans that I know, obviously living down the south coast, who've been messaging me tonight, and they're pretty unhappy with the football club, not necessarily the punishment. One said he's never felt so ashamed to be a Southampton fan. Others are calling for the removal of not just Tom de Rekker, but of those above him. Again, I think it's fanciful to think that the sporting director and other senior staff members weren't aware of what was going on. We're still waiting for an official statement from Southampton. I think you can probably raise some questions as to why they didn't have one prepared for the worst case scenario, but we expect that to drop any time soon. What I can tell you is the appeal is in. It will be heard by an entirely new, and I'm told a more senior independent panel. Southampton are confident it will be overturned. They say the sanctions are completely disproportionate and unprecedented. I'm not sure unprecedented really matters, because there is no precedent. Because, of course, the rules are only changed after the Bielsa Spygate, and there was nothing, as you've been saying, put in the rules as to what the punishment should be. I think it's interesting, not only have they been thrown out of the playoff final this weekend, they've also been docked 4 points for the start of next season. That does give this independent commission a bit of a halfway house, that they could uphold the decision not to allow them to play in the playoff final, but they could give those 4 points back.
And just to reiterate, if, from what you're aware, so let's say they do take this to appeal, they win that appeal, what happens to Middlesbrough? Do they just have to accept it then?
Yeah, Middlesbrough can't appeal. It was laid out to us on Friday that the only two parties that can appeal any verdict are the EFL themselves and Southampton. As we talked about, there is also no option to go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport.
Yeah. OK, so as you say, we're awaiting that statement from Southampton. But just tell us what's going on in the game that you're watching between Bournemouth and Manchester City.
Well, we've reached the 25-minute mark, and as it stands, Arsenal are champions, because it's still Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0. City did have the ball in the back of the net. You wouldn't bet against Antoine Semenyo scoring on his old stomping ground, but he was just offside as he finished coolly one-on-one with Petrovic, so the goal was ruled out. At the other end, Evan Nilsson missed an absolute sitter from 6 yards out. He was saved, Dean Ashton, by the assistant referee's flag, but it was a howler from the Brazilian.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it? Luckily for him, I think sometimes as a forward you look round and you're glad to see the assistant's flag raised, because it was such a poor miss. But I tell you what, the football leading up to it was stunning from Bournemouth. They have 3 or 4 times put together a few moves. That one in particular was sensational. True fair into Krupi, first time Tavernier, first time across to Evan Nilsson to miss horribly. But look, it's 0-0, but it's such an entertaining game, because the two sides are having to be at their very best just to play their way through.
Yeah, remember, Manchester City have to win tonight in order to take the title race to the last day of the season. As it stands, that won't be happening, and as it stands, with a point, Bournemouth guaranteed some form of European football. Long way to go. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0.
Alex and Dean, thank you very much. Remember, that one kicked off at 7:30. 8:15 they get underway here at the Bridge for Chelsea against Tottenham. Chelsea still with their eyes on a European place come the end of this season, and of course Tottenham looking to get the result. A win will definitely seal Premier League survival, but a point all but pretty much seals their Premier League safety as well, and that would send West Ham down. We will keep you up to speed with everything. You're tuning into Kickoff on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over, gambleaware.org.
Kickoff on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Hey there, it's your big McDonald's hunger calling. And it's not just any kind of hunger, it's the kind that calls for big arch. Start with juicy beef, cheddar cheese and big arch sauce. Oh, and don't forget those crispy onions. Hungry? You are now. Served from 11 a.m. Subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Now with Lidl Plus, collect points that you can turn into possibilities. Pepper abilities, pasta abilities, burrata abilities, kayak abilities. So collect and spend your Lidl Plus points on hundreds of rewards or money off coupons. Lidl, more to value. Exclusions apply for T's and C's. Lidl.co.uk/LPTV 18+ GB only.
Smart TV didn't work. QR code login didn't work. Re-enter login didn't work. Voice activated remote didn't work.
We can fix that. The hot casino app is actually pretty good.
Wager £20, get 100 free spins with Midnight on eligible games. Search Midnight Casino or download the Midnight app today. New customers only. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. 18+. Play responsibly. GambleAware.org.
At AJ Bell, we believe investing is for everyone. And when we say everyone, we mean your dad, Dan, Danielle, Dean, Dave, Dale, Dell's delivery driver Denise, Denise's dentist Dinesh, and Devon's strongest man, Donathan, that can't be right. Donathan? Well, whatever your name is. If you're a real person, investing is for you too. AJ Bell, feel good investing. The value of your investments can go up or down.
Hello, it's Ben from Verisure. There's someone trying to break into your property.
Yes, the alarm's going off.
Yes, I've got him on camera now. He's by the front door.
Where? Oh, my goodness. Oh, now my son's awake.
So my colleague is on with the police as we speak.
What should I do?
Okay, just stay put. The police are already en route.
Thank you so much.
The intruder fled and was caught by police. Last year, Verisure experts handled over 4,000 incidents in the UK. To get our latest offer, go to verisure.co.uk.
Football, it's in your DNA. And at SpreadX Sports, new customers can earn up to £80 in free bets after placing a £10 World Cup outright bet. Get an initial £10 free fixed odds bet and a further free £10 bet for every game your chosen nation wins. Visit spreadx.com/DNA for full T's and C's. SpreadX Sports, it's in our DNA. 18+, gambleaware.org. First World Cup outright bet only qualifies. Free bets capped at £80. Free bet stakes not included in any winnings. Free bets must be claimed within 14 days.
The fiercest rivalries, the toughest challenges, the top-flight dogfights, the do-or-die derbies.
And he scored!
When it comes to the Premier League, we're here for it.
World-class free
Destination Football on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
It's great football.
Get match ready for the passion and the exhilaration of game day with your unbeatable guide to all the upcoming action. Weekend goals unlocked. Destination Football on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Kickoff on 1089 and 1053 medium wave on your mobile. Get stuck in.
Understandably incomparable. Self-navigating instant goal-to-speech conversion.
The Weeknight Football Show. From the UK's essential kick-connected gridwork of Goalmouth.
Kickoff with Natalie Sawyer on TalkSport.
Kickoff this evening brings you a Premier League special where we're keeping you right up to date with two games that are kicking off this midweek, one of which is underway. We'll bring you an update on that one shortly because that has ramifications on the title race. But we are here at Stamford Bridge for what is an 8:15 kickoff between Chelsea and Tottenham. Remember, Chelsea looking to try and finish the season on a high and maybe bag a European place. And as we know with Tottenham, it's a slightly different situation. They're trying to secure Premier League safety. A point pretty much will do it due to their better goal difference. That will send West Ham down. But let's not forget, these two like a little bit of argy-bargy, don't they? You have to go back to, 10 years ago for the Battle of the Bridge, where, 9 yellow cards given out to Spurs players. We will, of course, keep you updated on that one. And João Pedro not involved this evening, but he's just been given a presentation on the pitch for the Men's Player of the Season, as was voted for by the supporters. So we'll going to continue to build up to this game in just a moment, but let's check in with what's happening at the Vitality Stadium, where Dean Ashton and Alex Crook are.
Past the half-hour mark here, Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0. Erling Haaland relatively quiet so far, but he has just seen one shot from a tight angle, brilliantly blocked by Evan Nilsson, back doing his defensive duties, the Bournemouth striker, and then James Hill with a really good tackle facing his own goal to deny Haaland getting a shot away. Manchester City in the last few minutes just beginning to exert their authority, but Bournemouth still look dangerous, Dean, on the counter-attack.
Yeah, and I think City have actually combined possession-based attacking with a little bit of counter-attacking as well with Doku and Haaland in particular. I was really looking forward to seeing Ryan for Bournemouth, 19-year-old, had such a good start to his Bournemouth career tonight. He can't get involved. Nico O'Reilly's just so good at just drifting forward. Ryan's having to get back and defend, so we haven't seen the best of him yet.
So Manchester City still searching for the goal to give them that victory they need to ensure the title fight with Arsenal goes to the final day of the season. Right now, Arsenal will be crowned champions for the first time in more than 2 decades. 12 minutes to go in this first half. It's still Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0.
Alex, Dean, thank you very much. OK, let's concentrate on matters here at the Bridge then, shall we, where Chelsea will be taking on Tottenham in less than 15 minutes' time, this one kicking off at. Joe Shannon and Tony Cascarino alongside me here. Perry Groves is in our studio as well. And don't forget, of course, on our TalkSport YouTube channel, there's going to be a fascinating watch-along. You're going to be in the company of Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy, if you so wish. That's before they're back on the sports bar from 10:30. Question is, who is going to be enjoying that one more? We will find out, of course, once this game gets underway. Cass, I'll come to you just quickly. Your thoughts on the lineup that Callum McFarland has gone for this evening. He has a couple of enforced changes, well, a few enforced changes, really. No João Pedro, and it means Liam Delap gets a chance this evening.
Yeah, João Pedro's had a bit of a difficult time. Allegedly got a bit of a knock, left out the Brazil team. Yeah. Gives Liam Delap an opportunity because he's got 1 league goal now this season, Liam Delap. You know, if you take what he did last season with Ipswich and played very, very well, got goals. This year he's just struggled in front of goal, and he doesn't. I mean, he had a header, didn't he? And at the weekend, you're just thinking they're ones you've got to be burying. And he's struggling at the moment. Reminds me a little bit of Evan Ferguson when he got lost his way slightly as a young man. There's still time, but he needs that performance in goal to get the fans behind him and believing in him.
Perry, let me ask you then, do you think the step up was always going to be difficult for Delap?
Considering that he's basically stepping up into a development team, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? So there's no senior players there that can help him, you know. And Cass will tell you, when you're going through like a bad time as a striker, you use that bit of confidence, you tense up a little bit, you know what I mean? And then you actually start running to areas where you shouldn't be going because, you know, you want to try and impact on the game. I think for the system that they look like they're going to play, like the 4-2-3-1, I think it's going to help him because Fernandes will probably play centrally as a 10 and Cole Palmer play on the right of the 3, but he'll be closer to him, where on in the FA Cup final, because Chelsea played the flat back 5, and you had to end up with Cole Palmer on the right hand side and Fernandes on the left, you know, protecting the fullbacks, like doubling up defensively, then when they had the ball there was nowhere to go. So I think this formation actually suits the players. So I think that he won't be as isolated. When I saw him for Ipswich, he engaged centre halves. He was the old, you know, type centre forward where he would sort of bustle in, he'd lean in, he'd get himself in the channels. So I don't think he's had the stability at Chelsea, which nobody's had, you know, through the whole season with, you know, different managers coming in and no senior players.
Perry, can I just jump in there with you? You're absolutely right to point out with strikers, you've played with many of them over your career at all various different clubs. I've been one, played alongside many good strikers, and when they go through that in different form and lack of goals and, as you said, tense up, you can see that Liam Delap is just someone who looks like he's going to miss nearly every type of chance he gets.
Yeah, I think, as you said, you know why, Cass, you know as well, he's overthinking stuff. You know, when you're in a role and you just play free, you know, and then you can express yourself. So it's obviously in your head. We know, like elite sport, you know, most of these footballers are unbelievably fit, and then it comes in that top inch, you know, which is the most powerful organ in your body, which is your mind. So if you're coaching him, you would say, I want you to get involved, obviously, with the build-up play, but I don't want you making too many lung-busting runs. You know what I mean? I don't want you... Because what happens as well, Cass, is you end up going into areas, don't you, in the wide areas, because you're not confident enough just to say, right, I'm standing in the 18-yard box for anything that drops my way. But I think, you know, with Cole Palmer and Fernandes a bit closer to him, that might help him.
Yeah, I'd add to that, Peril, that I think that sometimes he doesn't know when the ball's coming in, because Cole Palmer will hang on to the ball, jink one way, jink the other. I think Neto does it as well. Garnacho's unpredictable. So I think the wingers that he's got, he doesn't really know when they're actually going to put the ball in at times.
Do you know what as well, Cass? Because he hasn't played very well, he can't demand off the wingers. When I saw him at Ipswich, and he was very vocal. Do you know what I mean? Because he was the main man, wasn't he? He was their main centre forward scoring goals. So you could see him having rows with the wide players, saying, get the ball, and when you get it, stop checking. But he hasn't got that kudos at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So he's not able to demand off the players around him either. So everybody goes through it. Cass, don't they? You know, every centre forward goes through lean patches. You just hope that they don't last too long. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully he'll get himself a little goal tonight.
You've both alluded to how difficult a season this has been for Chelsea. You know, starting it with Enzo Maresca, they gave Liam Rosenior a little spell midway through, and now Callum McFarlane in charge until the end of this season. We know Xabi Alonso's coming in. We'll come to that in just a moment. But despite all that, in some ways, Joe Shannon, all is not lost for Chelsea. They still have a chance of finishing in a European place.
Yes, European football is still a prospect for Chelsea, even despite the poor season they've had, despite their worst run in the league as it is at the moment since 1993, and despite the board writing in today's programme that we recognise that the season overall has not met the standards, expectations or ambitions that define the football club. We understand the disappointment that brings. We share it. This is a club that measures itself against the very highest levels, and we know we must do better. And I think the biggest indication of that is what Chelsea have now done in finally, for the first time certainly since Pochettino, and only for the second time since Bluco took charge, appointed somebody, a manager with a genuine track record, a genuine ability in the game, somebody who's won a top division title, somebody who's managed in the Champions League.
I mean, and that is it, isn't it, at the end of the day? That's the importance of Xabi Alonso. But we're going to go to a goal down on the south coast. Alex Crook.
And this is a goal that will be cheered all the way to North London, because it's Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0. And ironically, it's a player who is on Arsenal's radar this summer, Junior Krupi, this incredibly talented teenager. It was Adrien Truffert breaking down the left-hand side, cuts the ball back to the edge of the penalty area, and it's a beautiful curling effort from Krupi beyond Donnarumma into the top left corner. It's a goal that could send Bournemouth into Europe for the first time in their history, could send them all the way to the Champions League, and a goal that hands Arsenal the Premier League title.
Gigantic goal in the Premier League, in the title race. Krupi Jr., absolutely stunning finish. It's a goal Pep Guardiola would be proud of his team if they scored, and they might have another chance.
Well, he's in again here. Junior Krupi, one-on-one with Donnarumma. Great tackle by Mark Gay.
But I'll tell you what, honestly, they started from the goalkeeper, played their way through into Alex Scott, who's been excellent, fed it eventually out to Truffert, and then Krupi, so clever, didn't go diving in towards the penalty, just held his position, cut back to him, and that just gave him the room then just to bend it round Kusanov into that far top corner. And these supporters went wild. Brilliant from Bournemouth.
Yeah, what an atmosphere inside the Vitality. Bournemouth 6th in the table, guaranteed if they go on and win this game. But they're only a point behind Liverpool in 5th. What a prospect. 17 years ago, this football club were almost out of business and crashing out the Football League. Here they are on the cusp of Europe and potentially Champions League football as well. And as it stands, unless Manchester City can score twice now in the final 50 minutes of the game, Arsenal will be champions tonight. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0.
Wow. And let's not forget how incredible Bournemouth this 2026 has been for them. If they were to win this one, they've been unbeaten 17 games. Quite incredible. We've got to have a welfare check on Perry Groves.
Football's a winner now. Well, honestly, if there was a goal that epitomises, Dino was saying there how good Bournemouth are in possession. If there was a goal that epitomises Andy Iraola's philosophy, that was it, because when Bournemouth are in possession, every player looks to go forward. Scott had it sort of deep in his own half. Then Tavernier comes in from the left-hand side. It's a little bit more central. He pings it into them. Tavernier then pings it out to Truefair. As he's running down the left touchline, he just looks up and he just squares it to Krupi, who, as Dino said there, just held that edge of the box. And to be fair, Krupi there is out Doku, because that is what Doku's been doing in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he bending it in the far top corner. It was actually art. It was art in front of your eyes, and that is the way that Bournemouth play. They don't play sideways. They don't go in the horseshoe shape, from left back to the centre halves and into right back. They look to pierce you, and that's exactly what they've done. And I think Krupi's got himself in a quite a big group of teenagers there, isn't he? Because that's his fourth. Oh no, it's Rian. Sorry, I'm getting the players. I'm getting all excited. I'm getting mixed up here. So that's Krupi's.
It's all right, Perry.
13th,
because you can't believe it.
That's his 13th goal of the season, which is amazing when you consider he's taken Semenyo's place basically.
Absolutely. Listen, as we know, that goal, and if that stays that way with Bournemouth winning that one, we know what that means for Arsenal. They will be celebrating winning the title with a game to spare as well. The teams are out here, by the way, at Stamford Bridge for this game between Chelsea and Tottenham, and as we've been saying all along, Chelsea do have a chance of securing European football for next season, but it would be just either Europa League or Conference League as things stand because of what Bournemouth are doing right now. And as for Tottenham, it's massively important for them to ensure they get the result that they want to ensure that they're playing Premier League football next season. Tony Cascarina, let me ask you on the news about Xabi Alonso and what you make of it. The fact that he's coming in July, 4-year deal. Joe Shannon was telling us about his track record already. Still relatively young in his managerial career. But what makes you think, or are you sure that he is the right man to take over?
Well, look, Bayer Leverkusen speaks for itself. An amazing job. Went unbeaten in the whole year. Stopped Bayern Munich winning the league. Had some amazing footballers in that team. Look, I give him a bit of a buy on Real Madrid because I think since he's left Real Madrid, we've seen how the club's unravelled and all the issues that he was probably dealing with. So I think it's a very exciting period for Chelsea, getting a top-notch young manager.
And I hear what you're saying about the issues at Real Madrid. Chelsea have had their own issues, though, this season.
Yeah.
Not quite the same.
Absolutely. They've got themselves in a mess in many, many ways. I think their biggest issue has been they've gone so much for potential with players, youngsters to develop. You have to bring in experience. And that's what Alonso did at Bayer Leverkusen.
Yes. That's a big plus point for the owners, Blue Co here at Chelsea.
Yeah, and look, there was a reason why they wouldn't say he's our new manager. A manager does a different thing from a coach, and that is managing the whole of the football club.
Well, this is it, Perry, because there aren't as many managers in the Premier League as there used to be. There tend to be head coaches, but you look at Arsenal, that's what Mikel Arteta now is. Unai Emery certainly is the manager at Aston Villa, and that's the title that Xabi Alonso's been given here at Chelsea. It sort of feels as though it's turning a tide, and perhaps managers are becoming more in vogue and that they should have more power and responsibility.
Now, Xabi Alonso wouldn't have gone there if he wasn't the manager, because I said before, Maresca left because he hit a glass ceiling, because he was getting interference and players that are coming in, players going out, the medical staff telling him who could play, who couldn't play. So he thought, I've got no control. So then they he was the headmaster of a secondary school, right? So then they bring in a trainee teacher in Rossinia who had no power whatsoever. So then he got found out. Then they bring in a supply teacher in Callum McFarlane. So someone else has no power. So now with Xabi Alonso going in, they've gone back to head teacher, because he wouldn't have gone there if he doesn't have the final say on the players coming in and going out. And also the module that they have for a club like Chelsea was ridiculous, where they buy young players, amortise their contracts, they send them on for profit. Chelsea shouldn't be a club that are thinking about profit. They shouldn't be a club that goes on the Brighton module, because that's understandable, of Bournemouth we're watching here today and Brentford. Chelsea should be a club that's thinking we should be challenging to win like the Premier League titles and the Champions League, and they need to buy. Castle Terrier, I think their policy will change, where you'll see them buying now players that are 27, 28 years of age, because they need to buy experience all the way through the team, from the goalkeeper through the centre halves through to strikers. They need experience in that side. So if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be really pleased that Xabi Alonso has been given the title of manager, because he will have control.
Yeah. And that is something, ultimately, Cass, that obviously everyone's been talking about it for a long time with Chelsea. They do need experience in this team. It's all very well buying for the future, but you've also got to think about the now.
Well, now, from the very first club I joined was Gillingham. The best players for me were the experienced one. They nurtured me, helped me, guided me. When things were low, they had to pick me up, and that's what you end up having at a football club. And that was what it was like for me at the end of my career as well. That I had youngsters around me. I played in a very young Nancy team, which had great players, all young, that didn't have the savvy or the streetwise of being an experienced footballer. And I tell you what, we had a side that had a bit of a mixture, which is, I think, what you need. You mustn't rule out any type of player just because of age and they don't tick all our boxes. You have to be careful.
Let's take you to the Vitality, where another big 45 minutes is going to be coming. It's half-time. How did it finish? D-Nash and Alex Crook.
Well,
it's 1-0 to Bournemouth still then at half-time, which means Arsenal fans, you can start dreaming. It's a reality now, in fact, because if it stays that way, you will be Premier League champions. But it's a big half-time talk coming your way in terms of Pep Guardiola and what he has to say to his team to see whether or not they can turn that game around and ensure that they take the Premier League title race to the final day of the season, when they will host Aston Villa and Arsenal will head to Crystal Palace. My goodness. We are underway, just a few minutes into this game here at Stamford Bridge. No goals, but if there are any incidents, we'll of course update you on that. You're listening into Kickoff on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over, gambleaware.org. Next, we're going to review the game down in the Vitality in more detail. Arsenal, as we say, 45 minutes away now from winning the Premier League.
Kickoff on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
You can now get Sky, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Netflix and Hey You together in one subscription. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, take your seats on your sofas, brew your cuppers and turn your phones to silent. Because the world of ultimate entertainment is about to begin. Sit back, relax and head to sky.com to find out more.
Shh. It's starting.
Requires Sky Stream and Sky Ultimate TV subscription. Minimum broadband speed of 30 megabits per second recommended. 18 plus.
Football. It's in your DNA. And at SpreadX Sports, new customers can earn up to £80 in free bets after placing a £10 World Cup outright bet. Get an initial £10 free fixed odds bet and a further free £10 bet for every game your chosen nation wins. Visit spreadx.com/DNA for full T's and C's. SpreadX Sports. It's in our DNA. 18 plus gambleaware.org. First World Cup outright bet only qualifies. Free bets capped at £80. Free bet stakes not included in any winnings. Free bets must be claimed within 14 days.
Why go small when you can go grand? Meet the new Vauxhall Grandland Griffin. Striking alloys, sleek black roof, heated front seats and 10-inch touchscreen. Everything you need for life on the move. Grand on style, grand on tech, grand on value. And during the Vauxhall sales event, get £1,000 off the new Grandland Griffin or any other new Vauxhall on top of all other offers. Search Vauxhall car offers. Offer to private individuals, £1,000 including VAT saving on new car orders between 15th to 31st of May. Must be registered by 30th of June 2026. 18 plus T's and C's apply.
OK, who's all in for Cancer Research UK's Race for Life?
We're doing Pretty Muddy.
It's an obstacle course.
There's one for kids.
Runners.
Walkers.
Book clubbers.
Nick clubbers.
10-pin bowlers.
Choir singers.
Lake swimmers.
Gardeners.
Whether you climb it,
slide it,
or crawl it.
Go all in against cancer.
All in to help fund life-saving research. Sign up now and save 30% off entry to your local 3K, 5K, 10K or Pretty Muddy event. Search Race for Life. Discount ends May 24th, 2026. T's and C's apply.
Buzzing for the game this week. I want to hear what my mates are saying. I want to tell them they're delusional. I want to tell them who'll score first. I want to call the half-time score and the full-time score. And when our kid pipes up and says, "Want to bet?" I'll stop. Think about it. Check my limits. Check how much I've played. And maybe I'll think, nah, not today, mate. Sometimes the best bet is the one you don't make. Gamble responsibly. Betfred. 18+. GambleAware.org.
Jim White and Simon Jordan on Talk Sport. Mid-morning radio that's up for the job.
I'm hot under the collar with this.
Concrete sports talk.
Edge that one in stone.
Rapid setting opinion.
I still think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Oh, no. Come on.
Big names all backed up.
David Moyes, John Hart's, Ian Rush.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Delivered tomorrow morning from 10 on Talk Sport by Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcovw.com. Kickoff on Talk Sport with Ladbrokes. 18+. GambleAware.org.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup live on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Stand by for excitement-producing, adrenaline-inducing, era-defining radio. The 2026 FIFA World Cup starts June 11th on TalkSport and TalkSport 2.
Kickoff tonight is at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against Tottenham. A game we'll keep you regularly updated on, as we will with what's happening down on the south coast, which will have massive implications in the title race. Bournemouth taking on Manchester City. We're just underway here at Stamford Bridge, but they're at half-time at the Vitality. Alex Crook and Dean Ashton are there. Alex, tell us how that first half finished up.
Well, Arsenal are 45 minutes away from the Premier League title, because at half-time here it's Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0. City have to win to keep the title race alive until the final day of the season, but it's Bournemouth in front, courtesy of a superb goal from Junior Krupi, their teenage sensation. It was Adrian Truffert 6 minutes before half-time, breaking down the left-hand side, cuts the ball back for Krupi, and he curls an unstoppable shot beyond the giant Donnarumma into the top corner. City did have the ball in the net early on. Antoine Semenyo's effort ruled out for offside. Erling Haaland has had one good effort blocked at the near post by Evan Nilsson, but overall, Dean, Bournemouth, heading for Europe, deserve this 1-0 lead.
They do. They've fully matched Manchester City, both for quality and possession at times. Obviously City shading that, but Bournemouth have had their fair share of building up play and forcing Manchester City back into their own half. I've been so impressed with the way that Iraola's team has acquitted themselves against a very confident, in-form Manchester City team. I mean, you looked at their starting 11 and you thought, yeah, that's proper for Manchester City. There's no messing around this evening, but Bournemouth have matched them. And honestly, the goal has to be seen, the build-up right from Petrovic all the way through midfield and out to the left-hand side. Brilliant ball to Krupi, and Krupi showing what a genuine talent he is at this level with a splendid finish.
And what can Pep Guardiola do to alter the course of proceedings in the second half?
Well, luckily, he's got a plethora of amazing talent to choose from. Now, of course, he's got Kovacic, who hasn't played a lot of football this season, starting the game. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe he was sacrificed, one of those midfield players maybe sacrificed for a Cherki, a Foden, somebody that's going to really get on the ball. Haaland looks so frustrated. He keeps gesturing back towards the midfield area. I think he's frustrated that he's not getting the support that he needs and players going beyond him.
So a big 45 minutes in the title race, a big 45 minutes for Bournemouth as well. They need a point to guarantee European football for the first time in their history, spent mainly in the lower divisions. 3 points and they're guaranteed to place in the top 6. That could be Champions League football here at the Premier League's smallest ground next season. Half-time, thanks to Krupi's brilliant goal. It is Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0.
It is quite incredible. Oh my goodness. A clearance off the goal line, Joe Shannon, here at Chelsea.
Somehow Tottenham are not in front. It is Chelsea 0, Spurs 0. What a chance for Matisse Tell inside the 6-yard box. A flying header, and Rob Sanchez has made a remarkable save, the Chelsea goalkeeper, to palm the ball against the base of the post and away to safety. As it stands, Tottenham will be all but safe and West Ham all but condemned to relegation, barring a mathematical miracle on the final day of the season. But Spurs so close to taking the lead, and that could have been the goal that made them safe well and truly tonight. They have a corner as a result, whipped in by Pedro Porro. Chelsea can't clear, and eventually the ball drops to Robert Sanchez on his goal line. It is Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. Spurs so close, Tony Cascarino.
Yeah, Matt Estelle had a great opportunity. Fair play to Robert Sanchez in the Chelsea goal, made a good save. But they've started well, Spurs. I really like the midfield of Paulinho, Bentancur and Gallagher. I think there's a lot of energy and legs in there, and I think they're getting on the ball enough to get something out of this game so far tonight.
It has been a terrific high-octane start. Really good atmosphere here at Stamford Bridge, despite one or two empty seats around the ground, and Spurs have certainly come closest to taking the lead. Of course, just one win at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League era. That was back in 2018 under Maurizio Pochettino. A win tonight, and they guarantee safety, and they send West Ham United down. It is Chelsea 0, Spurs 0.
And of course, we await to see who will replace them in the Premier League. But as it stands, we know that will not be Southampton, as they have been expelled from the Championship playoffs. Just a reminder of the breaking news that came out a little bit earlier on, if you haven't heard it already, after an independent commission deemed that, after they in fact admitted 3 breaches of the EFL regulations, they have been expelled from the playoffs and also been given a 4-point deduction to start with next season. They do have a right of appeal, but they do have to lodge that by tomorrow, and that could have implications on that Championship playoff final, which is due to take place on Saturday. Middlesbrough have been reinstated, though, as a result. But as soon as we get any more on that here at TalkSport, we will update you. Going back onto what has happened, of course, down at Bournemouth, with them 1-0 up against Manchester City, that means celebrations could have already started early in North London. Max Scott is based near the Emirates Stadium for us. How is the feeling around there right now, Max?
Natalie, I would wager with you right now that there are more Bournemouth fans in North London pubs than there are at the Vitality. I've never seen anything quite like it. You can feel the 22 years of desperation. You can feel 22 years of pain. And whenever Nielsen missed that absolute sitter, no one knows if he was offside or not, but crikey Moses, it was something different. And then that Krupi goal, the absolute fantasy Premier League dream. It was like watching England in a World Cup final. The celebrations here were special. In fact, one Arsenal fan told me, Natalie, the atmosphere here at the George pub, just minutes away from the Emirates, is better than the Emirates itself. You can feel what it means and the fluctuating emotions here in the pub in North London. Let me tell you, it is going to be something different if Arsenal win the title, thanks to an Andoni Iraola special for his mate Mikel Arteta. We'll keep you up to date on how it's going here, but crikey Moses, it was something else when Krupi scored that goal. 22 years of pain all coming out here in the pub. Back to you, Natalie.
Max, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll continue to take you back to Max and keep feeling that atmosphere from the Arsenal fans. Perry Groves, one of them. He is in our studio in London as well. And, you know, it has been such a long time since you've got your hands on that Premier League trophy, Perry. And so often in recent years you've been the bridesmaid. Does it feel real that you could be the bride this time round?
Long 45 minutes to go yet. Obviously, Man City, we know that, you know, they've got enough in their locker to turn the game around. And the word desperation, I think, is fair, because that's where you get to after 22 years. And that's why there's been anxiety in some games at the Emirates. I think that's sort of quelled a little bit, you know, the last 3 or 4 games that have been there. So I think it will be relief if it happens, you know, pride if it happens. But I had a really nervous last 15 minutes of normal time and that 7 minutes of added on time yesterday against Burnley, where you can't, as a fan, you know, when people say embrace it and enjoy it, it's all right when it's not your team. It's easy to say. When it's your team, it gets you in your stomach, in your blood. Your head doesn't have any logic, you know, when you're watching games. And that's how it grabs. That's why we love. That's how it grabs you. So I know Matt said there that, you know, the atmosphere is buzzing where it is in North London. There'll be anxiety there as well. Trust me. As the game gets a little bit further, you know, there'll be like whistles going there for Anthony Taylor to blow the final. So, but this is a long 45 minutes for Arsenal fans. But for Bournemouth fans, let's not take it away from the football they've played in that first half. Man City love playing controlled football. They had a bit of control in the first half for about 10-15 minutes. But Bournemouth don't stutter. They just keep going. I've been watching Alex Scott as well. He was outstanding in that first half in that centre midfield. You know, he's up there with the Andersons and the Whartons, you know, where he keeps it ticking over. And I think he's the second best player to come out of the Channel Islands, isn't he, after Matt Letizia?
Yeah. Just on that Arsenal game yesterday, I was there. Obviously, we were there for Talk Sport. It was surprising how the first half felt pretty in control for Arsenal. But my goodness, that second half was anything but comfortable, wasn't it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, Trossard hit the post. Saka had a really good chance which should have scored. Obviously, Havertz comes up with a brilliant header. And the neutral watching it, logic would tell you that Arsenal are in control. Burnley didn't have a shot on target. But every time an Arsenal player gave the ball away, Eze gave it away a couple of times cheaply in the centre circle, then your blood gets twisted and you think they're going to score. They're going to score from a corner. So there was jeopardy right the way through the whole game. And the 7 minutes really seemed like 70 minutes. You know what I mean, if you're an Arsenal fan. So, again, it was just relief, and it's just basically just ticking the games off that. You know, you just tick the game, right, it's another game gone, you win it, and then you have to put the pressure on Man City and see what they can come up with.
Perry, I've got to interrupt you because there's been a goal here at Stamford Bridge. Joe Shannon.
Sensational from Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0, and Spurs right back in the thick of a relegation battle. The Chelsea skipper, Enzo Fernandez, picks up the ball 25 yards out and he rifles it beyond the desperate dive of Antonin Kinski. Stamford Bridge goes wild, and that goal will be cheered just as loudly by West Ham United fans in East London as it is by the Chelsea supporters here. What a goal! Chelsea 1, Spurs 0, Tony Cascarino.
Well, what a fabulous piece of play by Cole Palmer. Out on the right-hand side, he picks up the ball, he threads it inside to Neto, who takes a touch, then feeds it to Enzo Fernandez, gets it on his right foot from about 25 yards and pings it in the bottom right-hand corner. Kinski, no chance. Absolute, what a really well-worked goal.
Well, take that, Tottenham. And, of course, as it stands, it would mean the relegation battle would go to the final day of the season, because there would be just 2 points separating Spurs and West Ham United, who are in the relegation zone. Realistically, West Ham need Chelsea to win tonight, and that's exactly what is happening here at Stamford Bridge. But the game has really been brought to life, and the atmosphere reaching a great crescendo here after that stunning Enzo Fernandez goal. Chelsea 1, Spurs 0.
Yes, Chelsea then taking the lead, and as Reece James has said in his programme notes today, they want to finish the season on a high. They want to finish in the European places if that is possible, and it is a goal that does move them up to 8th, which we know is a Conference League place. They are level on points with Brentford but have a much better goal difference, so that's why they move into those Conference League places. Perry Groves, it's funny how tonight there are so many other teams who are cheering or jeering with what's happening in these two games.
Yeah, it's an incredible goal from Fernandez, because I mentioned earlier that they're actually close, they're playing closer together, which they weren't obviously against Man City in the FA Cup final. So as Cass said there, Palmer into Neto to Fernandez, and he's 25 yards out, and he's actually giving Kinski the eyes, because when you look at it, he shapes up where he's going to bend it to Kinski's left hand side, and then he just whips it back around, and then it goes across the defender and just whips it around him. I think it was Danzo, uses him as a target, and then Kinski's got no chance because he's unsighted. It's brilliant technique from Fernandez. There's not many players who can do that in the Premier League. He's one of them, and that's his 10th Premier League goal of the season.
OK, Perry, for now, thank you very much. So Chelsea 1-0 up here against Tottenham. That means, as it stands, West Ham are safe in the sense of they're not going to be relegated tonight. If it stays like this, it will go to the last game of the season. But Arsenal fans have a big 45 minutes coming their way, with Bournemouth 1-up against Manchester City. That second half has just got underway, and if it stays like that, well, Arsenal will certainly be celebrating this evening because they will be Premier League champions for the first time in 22 years. Stick with us here on Kickoff with our Premier League special.
Kickoff on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. 18plusgambleaware.org.
Enjoy huge savings on Benchmark's kitchens this month. Throughout May and June, get 60% off our Essence Kitchen Flat Pack range. Available for delivery within as little as 48 hours. And that's not all. We also have great offers across Neff, Bosch and Siemens appliances too. Head down to your nearest branch or visit benchmarkskitchens.co.uk to find out more. Discount available is up to a maximum value of £1,200. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, have you got a moment? Shepherd's Friendly offers a range of insurance and investment plans to prepare its members for every moment that matters. Like that new set of wheels moment, that getting the keys to your first home moment, or even that trip of a lifetime moment. And it only takes a moment to open a new plan. So, have you got a moment? Visit shepherdsfriendly.co.uk. When you invest, your capital is at risk.
Football, it's in your DNA. And at SpreadX Sports, new customers can earn up to £80 in free bets after placing a £10 World Cup outright bet. Get an initial £10 free fixed odds bet and a further free £10 bet for every game your chosen nation wins. Visit spreadx.com/DNA for full T's and C's. SpreadX Sports, it's in our DNA. 18plusgambleaware.org. First World Cup outright bet only qualifies. Free bets capped at £80. Free bet stakes not included in any winnings. Free bets must be claimed within 14 days.
From countryside escapes to seaside breaks, and plenty of open roads in between, there's a Mazda for every kind of summer. Get 0% APR on selected models when ordered by the 30th of June, and keep your mind on the really important stuff, like trying to eat that ice cream before it melts. Search Mazda. Available on PCP when financed by Mazda Financial Services by the 30th of September 2026. Indemnities may be required. Terms apply. See website.
Now with Lidl Plus, collect points that you can turn into possibilities. Pepper abilities, pasta abilities, burrata abilities, kayak abilities. So collect and spend your Lidl Plus points on hundreds of rewards or money off coupons. Lidl, more to value. Exclusions apply for T's and C's. Lidl.co.uk/LPTV 18+ GB only.
Hello, it's Matt from Verisure. You pressed the SOS button?
Yeah, my phone's died and there's someone in the garden. It's just me and my daughter here. We need help.
Right. The camera is showing someone near the back door. We've alerted the police.
Quick as you can, please.
I understand. I'll stay with you till they arrive.
Thanks.
Now just try and stay calm. They'll be there soon.
Family unharmed. Intruder fled. Last year, Verisure experts handled over 4,000 incidents in the UK. To get our latest offer, go to verisure.co.uk.
With Betfred, when you bet £10, you get £50 in free bets. So, want to back your new striker to score the first goal? Your midfield maestro to get the assist? Want to say there'll be a header? Want to see their striker caught offside? He was born offside. Want to predict the final score? Or both teams to score? Want to get involved for 90 minutes? Want to nick it in extra time? Want to bet £10 and get £50 in free bets? Want to bet? Betfred. New online customers only. 5 £10 free bets. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18plusgambleaware.org.
Your weeknight grassy knoll to grassy knees football conspiracy kick-off.
Kick-off this evening, we are at Stamford Bridge. 2 Premier League games ongoing right now, and they have implications at the top and the middle, at the end of the table as well. We'll bring you an update what's happening here at Stamford Bridge, but let's take you straight away to the game between Bournemouth and Manchester City, which has just got underway into the second half. Dean Ashton's alongside Alex Crook.
Still Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0, so Arsenal champions unless City can score twice in the minutes that remain in this second half. They did have one chance soon after the restart. Nico O'Reilly denied by a smart save from Georgi Petrovic in the Bournemouth goal. Bernardo Silva's deflected effort loops into the arms of the Cherries keeper, but at the other end, well, Bournemouth would have doubled their lead, but for a brilliant stop from Gigi Donnarumma. Adrian Truffert, who's caused problems all night down the Bournemouth left-hand side, he whips across into the penalty area, toe poke towards the bottom corner by Evan Nilsson, and Donnarumma uses all of that big 6'7" frame, thrusts himself to his right hand side to claw the ball away. A second goal, Dean, and it would be curtains for City's title hopes.
Yeah, you'd expect so, but it's that chance for O'Reilly that was the big one at the start of the half. Really good play from Haaland. to lay it through to O'Reilly. No one in front of him, just the goalkeeper. Didn't strike it the way I think he wanted to. Petrovic down really well. To have started with a goal so early on would have done City the world of good. And then you're right, really good save from Donnarumma. I think it might have just been going wide from Evan Nielsen. But Pep Guardiola coming out straight away, screaming at Younes, at O'Reilly, wants his fullbacks to get high, and there's now movement on the bench.
So the clock is ticking for Manchester City and indeed for Arsenal, as Rayan Cherki and Savinho are both about to be brought on by Pep Guardiola. Phil Foden getting stripped for action as well, but Arsenal paying acute interest in this game all the way from North London. Well, they are about 35 minutes away from the title. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 0.
Thank you very much, and let's check in what is happening here at the Bridge. Tony Cascarino is with Joe Shannon.
27 breathless minutes gone. Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0, and what an ignominious night this is turning into for Spurs, because of course by the end of the evening Arsenal could be Premier League champions and the relegation battle could be set to go to the final day. Spurs actually had the first big chance of the game. Tell's header tipped onto the post by Robert Sanchez, but Enzo Fernandez has really lit up the match with a stunning strike from 25 yards out, edge of the D, and he beat the dive of Kinski into the near corner to us. And since then Chelsea have really been on the move and on the up in context of the game, flying forward at the moment with Cucurella, who's hacked down by Pedro Porro. That'll be a yellow card for the Tottenham man, and a free kick to Chelsea in the left wing position. Tony Cascarino, no doubt at the moment Chelsea are on top and Spurs are very much still in relegation trouble.
Yeah, Joe, and that's the third time in about the space of 10 minutes where Cucurella has got down the left-hand side and got just behind Porro, and he's been able to create something. And Chelsea have really got a grasp on this match now. Tottenham have got to find a way back. For me, they're overpassing a little bit too much. They've done some really good patterns of play, but it's always gone backwards at the end of it. They haven't been able to create, apart from the Matthias Tell chance. They've got to get back into this game.
The situation at the bottom of the Premier League table looks like this. West Ham United 36 points, Spurs at the moment on 38, so it would go down to the final day of the season if it stays like this, with Chelsea in front by a 0-0. Both teams have got home games, Spurs and West Ham, on the final day, as Enzo Fernandez hits the woodwork. He tried to catch Kinski out from the free kick, a very tight angle, rifled it goalwards right-footed. It cannons off the junction between crossbar and post.
Oh, he surprised Kinski there. He hit it first time, he whipped it from out wide on the left. He whipped it the near post with pace, and it hits the bar. And I've got to say, Enzo Fernandez, a lot of people give him criticism. Is he really a £100 million player? Every time I watch him, I'm so impressed with his ability to not only get goals but create things for Chelsea.
Oh, make no mistake, these two teams don't like each other. You remember the famous Battle of the Bridge 10 years ago, where Chelsea struck to deny Tottenham the title and give the title to Leicester City, as it was in the 2015-2016 season. Maybe this year Chelsea can ensure that Tottenham's desperate relegation fight goes to the final day. Half an hour gone and the team in Royal Blue are on top. It's Chelsea 1, Spurs 0.
Joe, thank you very much. And of course, it wasn't that long ago that a certain Enzo Maresca was in the dugout here at Chelsea. But it seems as though he will be back in the Premier League, but he'll be in charge of Manchester City. That after the news emerged yesterday that Pep Guardiola is set to leave the club come the end of the season. Now, there's not been any official word from Manchester City themselves, but that is what is expected. So it only gives us time to talk about that decision that has been made by those in the know at Manchester City. So joining us now, Tony Cascarino is here. We've also got Alex Crooken, Dean Ashton, Perry Groves as well. Perry, I'll come to you first of all on what you make of the fact that it seems as though Pep Guardiola is just has 2 more games left, including this one, of course, in charge of City.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise. I said mid-season that I thought this would be his last season. Obviously, they've won the 2 domestic cup competitions, and I think as well he's been there 10 years, and we know that his relentlessness, with his hunger and his drive and his passion. it's very difficult to keep that over like 2 or 3 years, let alone 10, to drive your players on to even higher standards. So I think maybe he might be sort of just mentally a little bit sort of fatigued. The Enzo Maresca thing doesn't surprise me because he was the coach there, wasn't he, when they won the treble, so he knows the football club. But that's like massive shoes to fill when you're going in and you're one of the greatest managers of all time. It didn't work well, did it, for David Moyes going into Man United after Alex Ferguson? Didn't work well for Unai Emery after Arsene Wenger. So Maresca's a different sort of manager where he wants control of the game, but he doesn't really sort of relinquish the players to go and express themselves. And when he was at Chelsea, he said he was dealing with young players. So he was the headmaster. So he could rest the players on the Thursday, couldn't he, and play them on the Saturday when they won the Conference League. You're dealing with more senior players than that, Man City, and you're dealing with bigger egos. That's going to be his problem.
Well, let's bring in Alex Cook then, our chief football correspondent. He is across that Bournemouth-Manchester City game, but of course has also been across this story, as he has been with what's happening with Southampton as well. But on this situation with Enzo Maresca, Alex, what can you tell us about the deal that might well be in place and how Chelsea, of course, have to be factored into this too?
Yeah, well, as I told you last night, I was told a few weeks ago that Enzo Maresca has an agreement in